we have a goal of reaching 1 million acres of Maryland agricultural land in regenerative practices by 2030. Next slide, please. Some of our work is captured in this slide. I won't spend a lot of time talking about the Million Acre Challenge. You'll see an email address down there in the bottom left, and our website is millionacrechallenge.org. If you miss any part of this today or want to know more, you can go there. But some of the highlights of our work are our soil health benchmark study, networking opportunities like this one, and our soil health hubs, which are meeting both virtually and on farm at this point. And we do have a specialty crop soil health hub meeting tomorrow morning at 7:30 to 8:30. You're welcome there. It's just continued conversation on what folks are doing around soil health. What I really want to impart today is that we are a farmer-focused initiative. We see farmers as experts, not ourselves as experts necessarily. And we really want to support farmers doing the work that they are already wanting to do, which is stewarding the land. So I'm going to pause here and see if we can bring up our poll. The poll today is really just designed to give us a sense of who's with us. And it just kind of helps to see where we've landed in terms of farm service providers and farmers and other folks. So let me see if I can launch that. Sometimes I'm better at this than others. Yeah, it's telling me I can't, which I've never understood. You are logged in from another device. So
we have it. I got the poll over here.
You're seeing it? I'm not seeing it, but if you guys can see it, that's awesome. If we have folks who can't access that, you're welcome to put information in chat just to let us know whether you're a farmer, a farm service provider, whether you're here as a researcher, an ag retailer, or for some other reason. Farmers, we're also interested in knowing how many acres you're farming on and what your primary product is. I know that's hard, but I guess my point is if you've got some laying hens, but you're mostly producing produce, you would maybe mention produce. So you're welcome to put that in chat. We'll give the actual poll another moment or two. And I'll have to lean on Amanda or Lisa to close that out and share the results. So you let me know when you've got that up. All right, are we ready to close that down and see what we ended up with?
So we have the results. There they are. 100% answered, thank you. We have 60% growing produce, 1 growing livestock for meat, 1 growing grain for animal consumption, 2 growing other. And we have most folks, 60% on 0 to 9 acres, 2 on 50 to 99 acres, 1 on 100 to 499 acres, and 1 NA. 6 farmers, 2 service providers, 1 researcher, and 1 other.
Awesome. Yeah, so that's fun. We've got a nice mix of folks here. Always good to have different opinions and perspectives. So this slide is sort of our little PSA. I've already mentioned some of this, but just as a reminder, we're doing soil health hub meetings virtually the first 3 Thursdays of every month in the order that you see here. So grain, and then specialty crops, and then pastured livestock. So our specialty crop meeting is tomorrow morning from 7:30 to 8:30. Registration is still open. Pastured livestock is the 21st. These soil health to goes happen every second Wednesday from 12 to 12:30. Our social media handles are all listed there, and we are practically begging you to get involved with that, because we put so much great information there, but it's really hard to kind of build that following. It takes a while. And so any help you can give us, any social love you can share, we'd be happy for that. And there's our website address again. We do have a monthly newsletter, which you can subscribe to from the website. If you go to Stay in Touch and then subscribe, that'll get you there. Next slide. All right, now I get to introduce our guest speaker today, Dr. Nadine Burton-Stubbs, who grew up in Jamaica, where she developed her passion for growing food really because of her experiences with her grandfather. I think it's a significant part of her story to note that she dropped out of high school when she was 15 to become a mom, and didn't go back to school until she had brought 4 more children into the world. Ultimately, she pursued an associate's degree and then a bachelor's degree in food system management and technology. In 2009, she came to the US and now has her doctorate degree. So certainly a story in persistence and success there. She currently is the alternative crop specialist for the small farm outreach program with University of Maryland Eastern Shore. And she's going to talk today about her experience with growing alternative crops like Callaloo and Malabar spinach and water leaf and other ethnic crops, which really bring a lot of diversity to the farm, but also have the potential to increase farm income. Next slide. We're gonna, this slide is gonna disappear, but these are some of the things that we're gonna be delving into with Nadine. And at this point, I get to turn the microphone more over to her as I kind of launch my first question for Dr. Burton, which is kind of your soil philosophy. When we talked the other day, you had some interesting things to say about your approach to soil.
Hey, thank you, Elizabeth, and good afternoon, everyone. I am so happy to be here. Now, as it relates to my philosophy, I look at the soil as the mother of life. And without nurturing and caring for the soil, then life will extend. And so I put it this way, as a mother, with child, you want to feed yourself well. So you get good, nice, bouncing, healthy babies. And that's what you do with your soil. And so after birth, now you're in the resting period. You do the same thing with your soil. So you're going to give the soil all the things that it needs to revitalize and and restore all the energy after harvesting. So, but during harvesting, I'm not feeding my crop. My focus is on feeding my soil. And I use a number of different ways to do that, to ensure that the soil is healthy. And so, and because I know with healthy soils, we will have healthy crops. So as we go through this, some of the things, the main things that I use, I rely heavily on poultry leachate because I've done the research and I've understand it somewhat, and I use it heavily in most of the things that I do. I use other compost and cover crops, whatever I need to do to make sure that the next time that my soil is impregnated with plants, it is healthy enough to give me healthy babies.
Right. We don't want to feed our children kind of a one thing diet, right? Thank you. That's perfect. So you gave me the perfect segue into continuing a little bit about your poultry litter leachate research and kind of how you're handling that. Tell us more.
Of course. So I doing my study. My PhD was focused mainly on ethnic crop. And after I've grown 21 of them and saw that they could grow, we want to see what are some of the ways, different ways we can grow them. And so we look at using sustainable we try to figure out the effect of sustainable fertilizers and two of these crops, which is Callaloo and hibiscus. And so for that, we did two different locations. We used 6 fertilizer treatments, which is, let me make sure. So the control was 20-20-20, which is a chemical fertilizer. Then we use Poultry leachate. The third one is vermicompost tea with fish emulsion. Then we have a mix of the chemical fertilizer with azospirillum, then vermicompost tea, fish emulsion, and azospirillum, and Poultry leachate with azospirillum. We want to look at not just yield, but we are looking at soil health. And so the part that I'll focus on today is just mainly this soil health. And so what we found when we used this treatment, there were no significant difference with yield in comparison to treatments. However, Poultry leachate and vermicompost tea with fish emulsion showed significant increase in soil biological activity, organic carbon, and organic nitrogen, hence resulting in a higher dollar saved by the farmers. How do I arrive by this? We use a small instrument known as a solvita, and it is used, it has, we use it's a treated indicator, and that reads the level of color change in the indicator. And it doesn't just tell you the color change, but it tells you how much inorganic carbon is there, how much inorganic nitrogen is there, as well as what the biological activity is. And so from that, we were able to say whether or not there's an increase. These fertilizers have gone to show that they by themselves can give us good yield, and in the same way, and simultaneously maintaining soil health. And so that's what I do today, even on this farm. We are not certified organic, and at the demonstration farm, we really don't want to go certified organic, but we use sustainable measures, and we also we have enough studies. When I'm conducting a study, I make sure to use inorganic and organic, so farmers get a preference. I don't want to sort of push things down the farmer, but I'm able to say this one does well in that area, because as farmers, that's what you want to know. You're building your soil, you're taking care of your soil, and you're not adding anything that is detrimental to your soil organisms.
Nadine, Thelonious has asked if you wouldn't mind repeating the name of the tool that you were using to test.
Oh, Solvita. I could put that in the chat.
All right, that's terrific. I think we'll move to the next slide, but we aren't going to be able to have time to talk about all of the different crops that Nadine has researched and grown with some success. I kind of put them all together on the left, and if you want to mention what these are individually, you can, but I thought maybe we would just focus on Callaloo, which is a personal favorite of mine, and ginger. So let's, you've been trialing these. What are you finding out, especially economically?
All right, so if anyone wants to know what is on the left, then I'll talk about it, but so that I have enough time to talk about Callaloo. So Callaloo is a Jamaican spinach. That's what I grew up eating. That's what I grew up on. And when I was doing this study, I personally wanted to see if it will grow here. But before I started the study, I was growing it for myself. I came here and I want to grow things that I'm accustomed to because I realized I wasn't able to find them in the store. So I would grow this crop and then other persons start, requiring, requesting more of it. But when I did the study on this, just to see if poultry litter, leachate, and whatever, if it works well, and it shows to work well. But I wanted more information. So when I got the job at UMES, I did a 1/4 acre of Callaloo. And of course, I use organic methods to grow it. And I was able to harvest the average yield per week was 900 pounds from a 1/4 of an acre. And you'll have to harvest it every week. And so this gives the farmer an opportunity to harvest weekly. And we recognize that it can be harvested for 16 weeks consistently. However, when I was doing my PhD, I realized that after 8 weeks, nutrient decline in it. So you're still getting some nutrient, but you're not getting the amount that you'll get from 3 to 8 weeks. So as a farmer and a researcher, I tend to tell people now, stagger your planting. So you're providing nutritious, healthy crops to your consumer. Now, based on what is happening, when we did this research of the 1/4 acre, we recognized that your expense at the time was around $10,000, which include labor, packaging, transportation, and all the things that you need. But the crop give you 100% income on what you spend. And so that's for anything that can give me that I think it's a great crop. And so for 3 years, I am sort of championing farmers to grow this crop. I did not get a lot of persons to capitalize on this opportunity. Thelonious is here. Thank you, Thelonious. He's one of the farmers who grows this crop. And one of the things I will tell persons about him, I didn't have to go out and look for market for him because there's a need. And so he went out identifying his own market, and he has been doing well with his Callaloo. I don't even stop at his farm to wonder what he's doing. Unlike other farmers, I'll have to be there hand holding and making sure that everything is going good. And that sort of make my work much harder. But this Callaloo is an awesome, awesome crop if you can grow it without the bugs destroying it. That is one of the problems with it. Once you don't have your eyes peeled on it, you're in trouble. So we come up this year with other ways to grow it. If you look at the picture on my right, you see some nets. So we conduct another research this year covering them with insect nets and look to see what was happening. That does work. But if you ever have if the insect gets an opportunity to get under that and you're not paying attention, again, you will lose it. So growing Callaloo, you have to do constant scouting, and protecting it like you're young if you want to make money from it.
Nadine, I'm going to pause and suggest that we move to ginger.
Okay.
There's so much to know, and it is hard to pack it all in. We have a wonderful video here, and I want you
I don't know how wonderful that is. That was a Sunday. That was a Sunday.
I want you to notice, we're going to play this video, and I want you to kind of notice in particular the bags, but I don't want us to get too far down the path of that here, because we also have some other tools at the later part of the slideshow that I think you guys are going to want to know about. So let's see, can we play that video? Perfect. So I'm not hearing it. Is anybody else?
No, I'm not hearing it either.
Well, we might not play the video. Or we'll just watch it. You know what, Nadine, why don't you just narrate? Because
Okay, so this ginger, I did work with Dr. Rafi at Virginia State and Dr. Lurley Marsh. So that's one of the things we do here. We sort of highlight researchers' work. And so in doing so, I tried growing or, modeling, come up with my own way. So some of the principles are from Dr. Rafi, some comes from Dr. Marsh, some are just my own idea to throw it in to see how best I could harvest good quality ginger. Now, the bag that we are looking at, that's called root stock. I think it's in here someplace. And we get the opportunity to grow the ginger in this bag for the second year. This coming year, we're going to grow it for the third time and using the same soil. So ginger is susceptible to to soil pathogens. And what we did here, we grow it in a shade house and we grow them on pallet in these bags. So the soil is not directly in touch with the soil. And we kept this last year. I ran out of time to harvest them. And so I just harvest them and leave some. And so I'm looking at what ratoon ginger, which is the one that is grown for 2 years compared to what I just planted this year. And what I found that growing it this way, I was able to harvest 21 pounds from one bag. And this,
how many bags did you grow?
Presently, I have 9 ratoon bags, and then I have other bags that were planted at different times, just so I can have enough information to give farmers this year, on what are the best way to grow it or the best time to grow it. Right now, I've not gone to harvest all my ginger yet, but I know I will have to do it very early.
And can you tell us the name of the bag? I don't have that in the slideshow anywhere, if you can remind us. And also someone has asked where you got your Callaloo seeds.
Okay, I will put the name of the bag in the chat. The Callaloo seeds come from Jamaica. I remember doing my PhD and we could not get the right thing when Miss Cotton when she purchased this Callaloo online, and then we planted it. I recognized that, no, this don't look like Jamaican Callaloo. And so I went home and I purchased seeds, and that is what I've been using.
How would someone else go about gaining access?
So what we do here at UMES, if a farmer wants the seeds, we will grow the plants for them. So the farmer will tell us early, how many seeds how many plants they're looking to grow. And we will do that and then, distribute it right around planting time.
That's great. I know that you were excited about this mulch, which is something that is newer to you. And speaking of soil health, a way to kind of keep weeds down, if you want to mention your experience with this paper mulch.
Oh, okay, cool. Early this year, I was in my office and one of my colleagues sent me this and said, "Oh, Dr. Burton, this is cool. This is supposed to can keep down your soil." But before that, Henriette Denoden, she works here as the herbalist, and she was using construction paper. But when I got this paper, I said, sticker is nice, so let me try it. And for the life of me, I could not get it to stay down. The wind will take it all over the place. But then I have this student who came in and worked with me this summer. And she said, don't worry about it. So she used, I think, like the cheesecloth and just use the staple and put it to the cheesecloth and just pin them down. And that was good. And it looks very attractive. And I said, okay, this is cool. So we use that. And right now, if you look in our high tunnel, it start breaking down. And so it's less work for me, to go up and go back and clean up, and I really enjoy using this. I really enjoy using this mulch, and I think I will be using it more. Last year I used burlap. I like that, and it too, breaks down, but then I still have work, in cleaning that up. But this paper is sort of cool.
And it means you're cultivating less, I presume, because
Right.
it just down. Yeah.
Right.
So, minimizing disturbance in the soil is one of the principles of soil health. And yes, I see the chat. Folks are eager to know the name of the bag.
Yes, I am looking for it. I think it's called rootstock.
While you're looking, let's see if you'll pop to the last slide, please, Amanda. What we'll do is we will, anybody that has to hop off right at 12:30, you are welcome to do that. We're appreciative of you giving us a half hour of your time, but we don't want to blow past that time if you have some other commitment. But Nadine is going to stick around, I think, for another 10 or 15 minutes. So we have a chance for more questions if you can stay. So again, thanks for everybody that was here. Check us out on social media, follow us, and sign up for our newsletter so you'll get more information. Other questions while Nadine is looking to find the name of the bag. And if we can't find it during this session, we'll get it back around to folks. Maybe it'll be one of our social media posts.
Yes, I'll definitely get it to you.
Have you ever grown breadfruit in the US? That's a
No, breadfruit is perennial, and I don't think it will withstand the cold. Am I thinking of growing breadfruit in the US? Definitely. As soon as I can put up a tunnel high enough, to grow those crops. But I'm looking to grow ackee and breadfruit. In Jamaica. We have miniature breadfruit trees, and that's definitely some of the things I'm thinking of doing.
Nadine, what would you say have been your sort of your keenest observations around the soil health component of your work? Things that you've seen change based on practices that you've tried?
I definitely say yield, healthier plants. That's one of the things I was said. Sometime when I look at my Callaloo, because the thing with Callaloo, as it gets older, the leaves get smaller. But if you have good, nice, healthy soils, you can have healthy looking Callaloo plants for a long time. And so that is one of the things I have seen. Along with my compost, every now and again, I boost my microbes, giving them some sugar. So I'll send some molasses in, and I've seen where, that have improved. That's the appearance of my plant is good enough for me.
I'm really glad you mentioned the molasses, because that had slipped my mind. Kind of a dose of sugar to keep the microbes happy.
Yes.
Other questions? I can't believe it. We've answered everyone's questions. Has everybody here had Callaloo before? If you haven't, I encourage you to seek it out. I know Thelonious, who had to hop off already, he's down in Virginia, the lower Eastern Shore, in Bird's Eye, I think it is. Bird's Nest, not Bird's Eye, some bird town that I'm confusing. Bird's Nest, Virginia, and he sells at, I believe, the Hampton Roads, Virginia,
Yes.
farmers market. But Nadine, if you have others that you know we can seek out in Maryland or elsewhere, I would encourage everybody to try it. It's fabulous.
Well, one of the things we do here at Callaloo Farm, because I think most of the persons might know me as an ethnic crop specialist, but I'm also a farmer. One other thing we do here is do value added with our Callaloo. So it's either we chop it and give you fresh, so we take out some of the work out of it, so the household can have ready to use. We also blanch and freeze. So we blanch, season, and freeze. So if you're not familiar with how to prepare it, we sort of bring it almost to your plate. You just have little work to do. So Callaloo Farm sells Callaloo. Wood Duck Landing Farm is one. Wood Duck Landing Farm, they sell Callaloo. If you're in Salisbury area, you can also get Callaloo at the Caribbean store of New Jersey Avenue.
I have a question. If you're making your own compost on the farm, what are you using as feedstocks? How are you creating a nice, rich, balanced, good carbon to nitrogen ratio in your compost?
So whenever we have green cuttings, we would add that, and that we have to decide on the ratio. And as well, we use our dried leaves with our poultry litter leachate. And with some place along this presentation, you saw where we have those insulation bins. And so we would capture the poultry litter leachate. Do we just go ahead and use the poultry litter leachate? No, we send it off every year to get it analyzed to see what amount of nitrogen, what amount of these elements that I need my plant to have. Is it producing? So those are some of the things. We also look at we also look at not just the three main components, but the micronutrient, which is important to us. So we send and get a full analysis, just like how you send for your soil. We send our slurry to get it analyzed.
And then how about the vermicompost that you're using? Are you making that or are you purchasing?
No, I don't use vermicompost now. What I does use is fish emulsion.
And are you purchasing that?
Yes, yes.
Do you have a source to recommend for your fish emulsion?
I can't remember it offhand right now, but I will email those things to you, Elizabeth, and then you can post them.
Okay, that sounds great. We did this on purpose so that you guys would have to check back with us and make sure you. What other questions do we have before we wrap up? We've got another 4 or 5 minutes if we need it, and if we don't, we'll sign off and bid you all good day.
I'm curious about how the poultry litter leachate is made. It looks like it's coming out the bottom of this insulated bin into a hose. Is there like a liner in the bin too, or how does
so wood chip is 1/3 of the bin, and that acts as the sieve. So yes, so 1/3, the first third of the bin, we layer it with wood chip, and then we start adding our compost material.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
And you, I think, explained that you don't add any liquid. It just does its own thing and creates its own, or do you do dilute it some once you go to?
We do, to apply to the plants if we add liquid. When I did my PhD, we do like 20%. And I thought about it and I'm like, this don't make any sense. If a farmer was using poultry litter, they would just dump the whole thing in. And this gives me some control on the amount of poultry poultry litter that is added. So right now I go and just use the 100%. You know, I use my measuring. So if I am looking at the plant, I will say, okay, I'm gonna give 100 mil per plant. Based on the stage of the plant. 3 weeks later, I may go back in and give 150 mil to each plant. Yes, it is time consuming. Could I run it through the irrigation? Yes, but I have not worked out the percent, the parts per million, which is best suitable.
Nadine, Marguerite has asked, how and when do you cover crop and do you intercrop with Callaloo to control insects?
Can I intercrop with Callaloo? Yes, there's another variety of Callaloo. Some persons call it the red Callaloo. It's a different variety. It's of purple leaves, like variegated leaves, green and purple. I found that when we use it as border crop, I can protect the ones inside. I wouldn't call it intercropping. Last year, I have a nice patch of Callaloo, and a student was running their hemp project right beside my Callaloo. And what I found that I didn't have to spray that Callaloo like I used to. All the worms were now feeding on the hemp buds. And I said, this year I'm gonna plant. So this year in my Callaloo at my farm, I border my Callaloo crop again with hemp to lower insect infestation. And so that works, but intercrop, I think for me, I want clean, felonious intercrop because it's organic and so it intercrops. I know Marigold is good to use too, but I've never tried intercropping.
And what about your cover cropping program? How is that going for you?
So I use veg, mustard and rye, and it works nicely. One of the things that works very good for me when I was doing my PhD is cowpea, green manure. Awesome. So because it's tropical crop, you'll have to plant it early in the season, so you'll have to delay your planting, but it is very beneficial. So 3 to 4 weeks after your planting, you're going to till that back in your soil and use it. Another way I found out for using that, if you don't want to do your tilling, so to till it back in your soil, if you don't want to do it, I remove the cowpea for 3 to 4 weeks, dried it, ground it, and then send it back through the irrigation. So that I call it green manure tea, but it does work magic, you know. So those are some of the things I use.
So you made a green manure tea with the cowpeas.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take a moment to kind of tell us more about how you did that? And then I think we'll let everyone hop off.
Okay, so I'll harvest the cowpea, and we have this nice drying system at the university. Nobody was using it at the time, so I went in and just put all my plants in it, and after drying, then we ground it in heavy duty grinder that we have there also, captured it. So it's now like a dust like, and I would tie 1 pound bag, amount into, actually what the thing is called, the white, is this cheesecloth?
So yeah, like a muslin or a cheesecloth.
Right. And so we tie it into that, and we would heat water, or just catch hot water from the tap and just pour it on it and leave it overnight, just like you're brewing a tea. And then now hook it up to our irrigation the next day and run it through.
Nice. How cool. All righty, folks, we've taken an extra few minutes of your time and attention, and we're grateful for that, especially for Dr. Burton's time and attention to today and to all the work that you're doing at UMES. I know you are accessible for folks who want to have further contact with you. If you want to pop your email into chat, that way folks will have access to it easily, but she's also on the UMES website if you lose track of it.
Yeah, I'm doing that just now. I would be more than honored to, to take any question. I did wrong. Any question, I'll try my best to answer. I take the pride of telling people that if I don't know it, I'm at the university where the resources are, and I will try my best to get it to them.
There it is. NM Burton@umes.edu. Thank you so much for being with us today, and all of you for your attention, your enthusiasm around soil health. We hope you'll continue to stay engaged with the Million Acre Challenge. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, Elizabeth. Oh, Lord, she's gone. All right, I forgot email.
Thank you, Nadine.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth.
Yes. Oh, did we lose her? Oh no. Right on the cusp of a question.